is Stephanie, Talk Tales and Trivia. How are you this fantastic week of 2017? I hope you're doing well. There is one thing most people can agree on, and that is exactly what this episode is all about. You see, every morning I wake up and habitually shuffle to the kitchen to make coffee, along with many, many other people all over the world. This is definitely a part of our American culture, and it has been so for a very long time. If you were to research coffee online, you would find that the United States doesn't even make the top 10 for the consumption of coffee. A matter of fact, our ranking on the list of coffee consumption is number 16. Not bad, but let's all give a hand to the top 5 on this list. Yes, the Netherlands, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Germany. Some of the best coffee in the world. Our research team here at Talk Tales and Trivia finds that the top coffee drinking countries are Germanic, Scandinavian, which really doesn't surprise me. For example, in Sweden, they have set aside 2 times in the workday of about 15 to 20 minutes each for drinking coffee and generally chatting with coworkers or friends, usually about something that is non-work related. This is taken very seriously, and it is an absolute must within the country. Yes, it's officially called fika, and usually occurs at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Of course, that goes along with the other non-fika coffee drinking that happens in Sweden a great deal as well. You see, I am far from a coffee connoisseur, but I do know the difference between a good cup of joe and a so-so cup of joe, as we here in the United States call it. And my tastes have changed as I have gotten older, strong and dark rather than weak and milky. You know, as I'm talking, I actually must stop and tell you my tale for this episode before I forget it. You see, when I was a preteen and well into my teenage years when I was at home, I loved coffee and I loved the smell of coffee. But I also loved what coffee represented in my young life and still do to this day. Relaxing, hunkering down, as my father used to say, staying at home, sitting with a good book as a pot of coffee sat on the counter in the kitchen. So it goes, my mother and father at the time were avid tennis players and went to play doubles once a week. In the time they were gone, I would make a pot of coffee, not so much for anyone to drink, but to smell it and to have it represent that wonderful feeling it evoked. Really, no one drank it, and it ended up being poured down the drain, but it was something I did for years without regret. Then, when I began working, coffee meant taking a much-needed mid-morning and mid-afternoon break. I still savor the smell of coffee and what it represented. Ah, yes, my sense of smell working overtime. Well, I am a little ashamed now and a little disheartened about the recent turn of events regarding my coffee-making technique that I must tell you about now. Ah, yes. I have up until recently been using the old tried and true 1950s style Farberware coffee maker for the rich flavor of coffee it made. But I realize as Americans we have reached the point of extreme motion and busy lifestyles, working overtime, cell phones practically in constant use for just about everything. So we need our big cup of our old dark friend coffee to start the day right away. I'm included in this. No waiting. We don't have time for that. Thus, enter the world of Keurig. K-Cups, fast, easy, beautiful K-Cups. For those that love coffee but really don't have the patience to wait the 7 minutes it takes to brew a pot of coffee and the cleanup after brewing. What a mess! Yes, the Keurig revolution has happened, and not surprisingly brought down the amount of coffee buying and consumption in the United States. We here at Talk Tales and Trivia found an interesting report in Reuters. The report provides further evidence that the growing popularity of single-serve pods, otherwise known as K-Cups, dominated by these single-serve coffee makers such as Keurig, is having a material impact on the United States demand for coffee beans. Quote, as Americans shift from traditional roast and ground coffee toward single-serve K-Cups, they are brewing only what they intend to drink, reducing the amount thrown down the drain, end quote. For Christmas, I got a Keurig coffee maker. Yes, even me. Well, I thought I'd try it. The interesting story behind K-Cups is that everyone is getting in on the trend. To name a few, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and of course Green Mountain Coffee, which is in cahoots with Keurig, and Gevalia, plus Maxwell House and Folgers, as well as other independent coffee manufacturers. And the flavors are endless. It's actually a little addictive to look through all the choices. But single-serve makers such as Keurig coffee machines have yet to reach a similar level of popularity abroad. If you were to go to any European hotel, you will find a similar coffee maker to our Keurig. It's called Nespresso. Very, very similar. Although coffee is well known to be acidic and not the best thing we could drink, it is said that there are good things about coffee that we must keep in mind. The one benefit is that it is suggested that just 2 cups of coffee can reduce post-workout muscle pain by up to 48%. Well, that's good news for me because working out on a more regular, vigorous basis was a New Year's resolution. And right from the start of this year, I completely overdid my workouts for the first couple of weeks. Also, an article from the British newspaper The Telegraph says that the upside to coffee consumption includes giving you a mental boost for at least 45 minutes after consuming it, and it can enhance memory for up to 24 hours. It also reduces the risk of Parkinson's if the consumer drinks at least 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day, which, by the way, I do. And it very well may help those that already have the disease with coordination issues. It may lower your risk of diabetes, and it may just perhaps make a person more logical and speeds up reaction time. It actually is now proven that 800 milligrams of caffeine, just over 8 cups, is effective over consecutive nights in maintaining cognitive or thinking functions. But I know for a fact that with every positive, there must be an equal negative effect. Yes. There is such a thing as a caffeine crash or a caffeine hangover from drinking too much coffee. Symptoms of a caffeine crash or caffeine hangover may include excessive tiredness, inability to concentrate, irritability, and dozing off. I get these symptoms every so often, whether I drink coffee or not, and would never fully accept them being related to each other. Yes, who's to say those so-called symptoms aren't happening because of other daily issues such as overworking or staying up late watching a movie or television program? I'll take my chances on having caffeine crashes or caffeine-induced hangovers any day. Just give me my cup of coffee. We here at Talk Tales and Trivia would love to know how you feel about your coffee consumption and about coffee in general. Our email address is talktalesandtrivia@gmail.com. And as always, you can go to talktalesandtrivia.com to see all the show notes in this episode, as well as listen to past episodes of 2016. We hope that you will stay tuned and tune in next week. See ya!